This is the worst time in society ever.
Yeah, not to be bleak.
I think like there's been like way worse times. We have like Nintendos and shit. I could stay home and do nothing.
Is that the qualifier for how society's doing?
For sure.
We have Nintendos and shit.
Private Dicks, it's a good thing you guys showed up randomly on this Zoom call because I just thought of this thing that I need.
Oh, yeah. I opened up a link, came right to my inbox. I wonder who sent that to me. Weird.
I'm good at technologies. Look, myself and a good friend of mine, Hunter Collins, follow him on all sorts of social medias.
He's been a client of ours.
Yeah, Max Headroom, right?
Oh, you've met Hunter. Okay, good. Yeah. So Hunter and I are looking for a favor. He's going to be doing a feature film, a horror about chupacabras very shortly. And we don't have budgeted money.
We get that. Like that's
well,
what
we have some. We have some for like some things, but what we don't have is enough for any sort of CGI or any sort of like Jim Henson like chupacabras. We were hoping that we could find one.
I get it. That's smart. We find a chupacabra, and then because it's so like, you sell that. I mean, it's got to be worth a lot of money, and then you'll have the budget money to do a CGI one, right?
No. We just thought if somebody could get like a good dog trainer and start working with this chupacabra, we'll give them a couple weeks.
RJ knows a thing or two about keeping dogs on schedule.
There you go. Yeah, I think that's a stab at your dating life.
It is. That's what it was.
Other than being a burn about me actually feeding my dogs late today.
Yeah.
That bitch is never on time. Okay. I feel like you're just trying to you want to make a horror movie, but it sounds more like a snuff film. Like it sounds like you want to like as soon as you catch a chupacabra, it's killing something.
Okay. That is a granted thing that can or cannot happen. However, there's a good portion of whatever it kills that won't be there anymore.
That's true.
It'll be in the chupacabra's tum-tum, and the rest of it, we get a bag of lime, a bathtub. Visit a pig farm.
Hold on though. Like what's going to happen to the chupacabra after the movie's done?
These are some questions that maybe I was going to write a note. Don't ask that because Hunter and I talked about it. Neither of us want to foster a chupacabra.
See, now I'm thinking of it like it just gets fed dehydrated shrimp or something for the rest of its life. And it's in like a glass box and just starts looking deflated and sad like those whales at SeaWorld.
Right.
Because that would suck.
And we this whole time we didn't even know it could talk. And then right at the very end, it goes, kill me. And then it's even creepier, Like, oh my God.
Wait, no, you could double dip though, because that Blackfish documentary made buco bucks. Like that was about the killer whales. So you'd use it for the horror movie and then you mistreat it and make a documentary about your mistreatment of it.
Yeah, the whale in question was Talmica, the killer whale, the large male at SeaWorld of Florida. I did meet Talmica just a week previous to him murdering that person.
Oh,
yeah.
I was but 17 years old and in the splash zone. I looked him dead in the eyes, and I could tell then he was a killer.
You were like, do it.
Yeah.
You just brought a photo like it's someone you knew. Like, this guy will be here in a week. You take care of him. Yeah. Okay, I think you're the guy to train the chupacabra. To tell you the truth, like if you're training fucking the whale to kill your enemies, I have an idea. I don't know where. Like, I don't think I could find a chupacabra, but I could tell you all about it and put you in the right direction so you could know where to kind of find one.
I like that. In the meantime, I'm going to watch several episodes of The Dog Whisperer.
That's probably all you need.
Probably like a chupacabra. Same thing.
You might be overdoing it at that point. But...
An elite team of private detectives.
What if balloons are aliens? Maybe that's the key component we're missing.
Cover-ups.
John's guilty.
Mysteries that need to be solved.
Maybe Mormons need mountains.
Richard, shut up.
Welcome, Prime Dicks. I got Ryan Horwood here, gonna solve the case with us. A couple things you said off that intro that you don't even know that add into this. That's hilarious. Like dehydrated shrimp would make that thing very sad for sure because they drain the blood of shit. So that's fun. And then you said it's like just a dog. Yeah, that's probably what it is at the end of all this. So like there's a lot of fun stuff. There's a lot of fun stuff. What do you guys here? Let's just start with like, what do you guys know about El Chupacabra? We'll go one at a time. See if you guys know anything at all. Even Ryan can start because he's very educated on Chupacabra.
No, I'm very knowledgeable about it actually, because the first thing that we were surprised to find out is that they're not Mexican in origin, which I think for a lot of people is the first guess, but more Puerto Rico. And then what makes that interesting is that that's also where the US have always been fucking around. So I think the coolest thing to me is that this started as a possible alien thing. And then as it went around the globe, it turned into more of a four-legged doggy thing.
Yeah.
Does that mean that if it's from Puerto Rico, are they also amphibious?
Oh, there's a good chance.
Maybe. Like, I don't even know how to answer that. Maybe. That is a very concise answer that like sums up almost my entire script in like 2 paragraphs. So thanks for that.
I'm gonna choose to believe that they are amphibious.
Okay.
Letting you know.
Perfect. Did you know anything actually about them besides that they're amphibious before this?
No, but I did just learn that they're amphibious.
Okay. Perfect. What about you, Rick? Do you know what El Chupacabra is?
No, I've heard of it, but I don't know anything specific.
Vampiric, right? Isn't that like?
Yes, vampiric for sure in origin. That's a good one. Good part of it.
Yeah. So it's probably Rick's cousin.
That's true.
My ex-wife, am I right?
Am I right?
Is that because you captured her and used her as a prop in a horror movie?
Yeah, real bloodsucker.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't think I thought I knew what El Chupacabra was when I first started reading on this, but like what I thought was it was a Mexican cryptid that ate goats. And you're right that everyone thinks it's Mexican because it's like in my script I directly wrote this. Proves how racist I actually am because I just went straight up Mexico. It could have been any Spanish speaking country, but I picked Mexico. So there goes showing my racism right off the top.
I wouldn't have called that racist, but it's fun that you did, and now that's all what we're all thinking. So
you guys would have eventually called it racist. It's not that hard. You do it every episode almost.
I don't know, man. I mean, don't have so little faith. You
I have
fucking
faith.
racist.
That's what I mean. I have faith that you're going to make me a racist at some
What do you think?
point.
Why you don't think I have faith because I'm Irish? Is that what it is? Because come from Catholic heathen stock or whatever?
Yeah, I don't like the Irish, so that's like round 2 for being racist.
What is he, English? What are you, English?
Me or Richard?
Yeah. How do you not like the Irish?
Because German, and they didn't like a lot of people for
yeah, they don't have pure blood.
Oh God.
Here we are trying to be like
just a couple of nice Irishmen, and we've got this kraut over here with his square beard and his square head.
Wow. Actually offended you guys. That's fantastic. Okay. The Chupacabra starts in Puerto Rico, but there's been reports of Chupacabra in Mexico, Chile, Spain, Argentina, Brazil, Florida, Texas. There's even one sighting in China. He's made his way over to Asia. All right, this episode is hard to do because it's like so fucked up. But okay, let's start with the name. Chupacabra literally means goat sucker in Spanish. So like chupar means suck and cabra means goat. So it's literally goat sucker. That's fun, right?
goat sucker rocks as an insult.
It is pretty good as an insult.
Look at this Chupacabra.
They don't actually like eat goats. What you said, they're vampiric, so they like suck the blood out of goats and other livestock. Goats just, I don't know, for some reason seem to be their favorite meal from all these reports that are out there. But they've also known to suck the blood of cats, sheep, rabbits, dogs, chickens, ducks, hogs.
Hog sucker.
Hog sucker might have been better than goat sucker. You're probably right.
Do you think this thing ever goes after roosters?
I did say chickens. Anyways, honestly, like, man, I had to look up this Chupacabra for hours because it's so all over the place. And the internet doesn't have that all that much. Like, yes, it has lots, but it's all over the place. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to read a book on this, on someone who like did some work on some Chupacabra action. And it's a book called Tracking the Chupacabra by Benjamin Radford from 2011. And it was good. I enjoyed it a lot because he's a huge skeptic. So he just went to go. He researched the Chupacabra for 5 years, running down leads like all over South America, like all over the world, really, and just to like debunk them. Like I love that. Like all you're doing, dude, is just ruining these people's like
fun
prize piece. Yeah, exactly. I find that hilarious.
This guy's walking around kicking sandcastles over. This is what he's doing.
Because it's so much like what is he gonna do? Like try to make himself happy somehow else? Like no. That's so much more difficult. Everyone knows that. Like way easier to just like bring other people down to your level. I love this dude.
Yeah,
it was fun to read. But I did even reading that book. You find out how laughable the whole Chupacabra thing is because it's so vastly the same and so vastly different at the same time. It's crazy. It is the newest of all the cryptids, which I found that was interesting. Like it started in 1995, really. So it's internet age. It's like first thing that's like grown from the internet. But like the Chupacabra, no one really even has a full-blown description for it. Like there's so many different descriptions. So
wait, hold on 1 second. You're telling me that they haven't come up with any other cryptids since 1995?
It was just the first one from the internet age, like from 95. The newest, like Slenderman's not really a cryptid. He's really a monster. Like you can't really think of anything that's been created past. Like what? Like an animal that lives out in the bush that we haven't seen.
What was that Montauk monster thing that was going around? Like, I don't know. It had to be like 10, 15 years ago or something.
I know what you're talking about, but I'm pretty sure that's an oldie.
It's not older than the Chupacabra.
I'm looking it up right now because I know what you're talking about.
2,000 years later.
Oh, no. That's from 2008.
One of the things I found really interesting about the whole sucking of blood is that in the first wave in Puerto Rico, and not so much once it moved to different parts of the world, something we found when we were looking at it over coffee, was that a lot of these neck puncture wounds, when followed with different instruments in an autopsy after the fact, the puncture wounds always went to the brain.
Yeah.
So whatever it was that was going into the neck, the assumption was they were long enough where they were also puncturing the brains. Like it was always directed. They would follow these puncture wounds and they were always directed. So it's just weird. That's the first account of the first 100 in Puerto Rico, but then it changes.
But okay, I will talk about the autopsies later. Like no one's ever actually done an autopsy on it. And if they have, Benjamin Radford did a terrible job because that's all he wanted was to go. He wanted to find one, honestly. But like, if he never found anybody who actually ever did an autopsy on one of these things. They just say it sucked out dry blood. And we'll talk about that later. But like, I love this guy. But the Chupacabra, even in early times, was described in like 10 different ways. And then now it's like described, like, okay, here's the fun ways. This is how this has been described, okay? Been described by people who've actually said they've found a dead Chupacabra too. So let's keep that in mind. This thing's been caught, or at least a carcass has been found of a Chupacabra.
Allegedly.
So here's the ways it's been described. Gray-skinned, but also hairy. Could have scales, like some sort of lizard. Chupa sometimes changes color like a chameleon. Also saw it was 3 feet tall, or 5 feet tall, or 4 feet tall. It has a huge nose, or it doesn't have a nose at all, just 2 nostrils. It walked like a monkey, or a kangaroo, or a dog, or
I don't appreciate this because this does sound like some of the dates I've been on.
Oh, this one's gonna sound like your current wife. I'm just kidding.
Wow. Okay.
Take that, Misty. It says it has spikes run down its back, or it has feathers running down its back, or it's a mixture of spikes and feathers running down its back. It's got long limbs with giant claws, or like short limbs with giant claws, or like their toes are webbed, or like they're not webbed, but like they have webbed arms, so they kind of glide like a flying squirrel, but also not that because they could have wings. Sometimes they're bat wings, but like sometimes they're just like straight up feathered wings. Whatever wings you want, they usually have. Its mouth has 2 giant protruding fangs. That's the only thing that's usually the same in anything. Eyes were in the front of its face, or the side of its face, or near the mouth on the base of its face. Eyelids sometimes not. Eyes were blood red sometimes, also sometimes orange yellow. Sometimes not even a weird color at all. They're just normal colors. Sometimes, this is another thing you said earlier, sometimes there's even a description of the creature that it has like basic language skills. So like, I'm not going to tell you every encounter for Chupacabra because there's been so many, but I'm going to tell you this one. Apparently, there was a witness who locked eyes with the creature and said, "If you're a Chupacabra, you're a pretty sorry excuse for a creature." but it was in Spanish because it was Mexico when this happened. And then the Chupacabra turned to her and replied, "Pendejo." So it swears at people. Okay. Not even the funniest one.
Wait, what does that mean?
It means asshole, I think. Pendejo. Pretty sure. Pendejo. Anyways, that's not even the funniest one. One account, the Chupacabra said that some farmers like, you know what? AIDS comes from chupacabras because they fuck the cows. You know what I mean? They fucked my cows, and then that's how AIDS came about.
Makes sense to
It
me.
wasn't us.
It wasn't. I didn't fuck the cow. This is another one.
Yeah. And for no reason should any of you smell my dick right now.
There's another story, and this is reported in a newspaper, that the Chewbacca abducted the Chupacabra. The Chupacabra abducted a little girl, tattooed a series of letters and numbers on her forearm,
This is sounding very German.
dropped the little girl off, and then escaped. I don't know. I don't know. It's got a tattoo gun now too. Never captured that one.
Okay.
Like I said, the only thing that's the same in any of these, like as I go, like some of them are similar, but they just keep going all over the map. It gets crazy. The only thing that's similar is the big long teeth that you're saying. Big, long, sharp canines.
Yeah, I just did a Google image search. It had been a while since I've seen a Chupacabra depiction. And I will say, across the board, there is zero sense of consistency.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
The consistency is only if there's one thing that's consistent is that all of the reports of anything that was bipedal with no tail, things looked at as being a kangaroo or quite possibly a monkey or something, those sightings were all in and around Puerto Rico, where it seems. And what is the city where it started? It starts with an M. I forget now. We looked at it.
Mount Chupacabra.
Yeah, that would be good as guess.
Mocha.
Yeah. Okay. So this place, anything in and around there, it's similar in what the descriptions was, and everything we saw suggested that once it left from that part of the world, this is where it became more of like a dog-like thing, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And that's kind of what's fun about this is that it's so confusing and it still captured people's imagination for a long time. It's still around today. What I did find out is there's two different kind of Chupacabra, and that's what you're trying to say right now. So there's the original Chupacabra, which they call the Puerto Rican Chupacabra, and then there's the Chupacabra that it turned into, which they're calling the Texan Chupacabra. Similar in a lot of ways, but different in a lot of different ways as well. So let's just go from the beginning and then we'll work our way into like how this moved around. So like you said, started in Puerto Rico, a lot of accounts first placed the attacks of the Chupacabra in a small town of Mocha, Puerto Rico, 1975. During the months of February and March of that year, some unknown beast had attacked and killed some animals around various farms. They killed 2 ducks, a hog, 3 goats, and 2 geese. A total of 6, 8 animals. They had been sucked dry of blood, and they only had, on each animal, they had 2 small circular incisions. No sign of blood anywhere. Not even the geese, who were white, super white geese. So they would have been it would have showed a lot on them, on their white feathers. Back then, though, the culprit of the livestock killings wasn't called the Chupacabra. That comes way later. The killings were associated with what the locals called El Vampiro de Mocha, or the vampire of Mocha.
I don't have to know how to speak the language to put that one together.
I'm pretty sure I had to help myself more than anyone. March 1995. So those happen. People say, oh, there's a vampire. And then it's really not talked about until 1995, March 1995. And they only put this together after they go back and they look. 95 is when it starts. And then they kind of did this ever happen in history before? And the only thing they could find was the vampire of Mocha. So March 95, this is in the small Puerto Rican town of, actually there's 2 towns, of Orocovis and Morovis. And this is where they had a bunch of farm animals killed en masse. This was sheep, cows, chickens, turkeys, rabbits, goats, and they were all found dead, uneaten, but drained completely of blood. Sometimes 101 evening. Same thing, they still just had 2 incisions on their neck. That's it. They weren't dragged off or eaten. They were just left in a big pile. No one had heard or seen anything that night.
This has nothing to do with what you were saying, but additional third source of revenue for the captured Chupacabra. I bet it gives incredible head.
It'll suck you dry for sure. Okay.
Just a thought.
That's a chupa hole. I'm not sticking my dick in that.
Coward.
Yeah, I am a coward. The story of these animals being like sucked completely of their blood, exsanguinated, was reported everywhere, all sorts of media, like 5 o'clock news in Puerto Rico, morning news. They even had like the Oprah type shows were showing, like talking about the livestock. A show called, and I'm sorry that it's called this. We could have figured out what the show is called, but it's called El Show de Christina. It's just Christina. I guess it was just called. It's kind of like Oprah.
Christina's show. I'm just putting it together now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was interviewing, she had a guest on it. His name was Silverio Perez, and he was a comedian. And they were talking about like the livestock killings and how they all died in one night. And this is where he claims, like Silverio Perez claims, he came up with the creature El Chupacabra. He just said it like as a joke. It was the goat sucker. And like the name stuck. So a comedian made up the goat sucker name, which of course it did.
Yeah, it's consents. It works. It's exactly what's going on.
Bam. You know what you're talking about.
Beating around the bush, no middleman.
So yeah, so those reports keep going on, and other people are starting to lose their livestock, but nobody ever sees the actual chupacabra for about 5 months. The first actual sighting was in August 1995. A housewife named Madeline Tolentino, she said she saw the thing just outside her house. It was standing at the end of her driveway, and it was at a distance, but she claims she got a really good look. Okay. Like a super good look. We'll see in a second. So she describes it as a large reptilian thing that kind of looked like a kangaroo with huge dark eyes that wrapped around the sides of its head. And it walked on its hind legs and it had scales. It also had like hairy arms, sharp fangs, but it also had like a long snake-like tongue. And it was gray in color, and it had spines or quills or feathers running down its back. It was like a combo of, she settled on a combo of spikes and feathers. She said it would open and close like a fan when the thing stood up straight or bent over. It also hopped around like a kangaroo too, except like size of a chimpanzee. And she said it had like some round things on its body that looked like burns. The burn marks revealed like a pinkish purple skin.
No, she remembers too much to be a real witness.
Oh, wait, she knows more. She remembers a lot more. She said that she even got down on the floor to see if it had genitals, which it did not. Specifically, she says there was no butthole. I didn't see a butthole anywhere. So she looked for butthole.
Now, what does she know? This thing could have what they call a cloaca, much like a lizard. You know,
I want her to explain any other animal to me in that much detail.
I agree. Just tell me your cat.
Tell me how you can remember that many things about a single animal that you supposedly saw one time.
For like moments, because
I couldn't even describe my dog to that level of detail, and I see that guy every day.
Does your dog have a butthole?
Yes.
You're close to Madeline.
But the first time I saw him, I didn't inspect. I just assumed. If I see a random animal, I'm assuming there's a butthole. I'm not looking for it.
That's very progressive of you, Rick. Yeah.
All buttholes matter.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Indifferent.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is only briefly because she noticed this. She got a good full-blown description in her head. She looks at the thing, and she says its arms were held back like an attack position, like Naruto or some shit, like coming at you. You know what I mean? Just arms behind. And then she screams. She doesn't know why. She's like, I screamed.
This is an Area 51.
Yeah. And the thing like runs away. And her mom, who's in the house with her, hears her scream. It's like, oh, what's going on? She's like, there's a creature. And the mom's like, I'll catch it. So the mom runs out to catch this fucking chupacabra.
Where is this? Where is this again?
At their house, just at a random farmhouse. They're like ranchers. And she screamed. The mom goes out for it. A kid that works on the ranch, like he's a younger kid, teenager, he says he starts chasing with the mom. The boy said he caught up to the thing and he tried to grab at it. And then it whipped out its spiny feathers and showed its teeth, like growled at him. It ran away again. But like this time, it was like faster. And it said kind of like floated away. Like he's not sure how it flew, but it like into the sky and it was gone.
I understand why this makes sense. And this will help explain the lady's depiction, Rick. Because like that's kind of like surprising behavior for the mom to be like, like hear all that and then just go, I will catch it, and then run out the door. I think this was Autism Ranch. I think that, and if that's the case, then it does track that the details would matter that much, and the mom would hyperfixate on finding it. So really, it was probably all of them that were Naruto running, Richard.
That's definitely true.
Darwinism is all like, how does a woman survive to this age when she sees something crazy like that and goes, you know what? I'm going to go get this thing.
Yeah.
What are you, a lunatic?
Yeah, I don't know why she ran for it. I don't know why anybody ran for it. It looked fucking terrifying. Why would you run towards it?
Yeah. It's like if you saw Bigfoot, are you jumping on its back and trying to choke it out, rear naked?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe.
No, I'm not. That
No, you go, oh my God, if that's Bigfoot, I'm going this way. That's what you do. You don't
take a couple pictures, but
I think she had
100%.
help with the medical bills though, because I believe Tom Cruise was paying her to help count cards. So it was all good.
Yeah. Spectrum Stable strikes again.
Definitely.
That's so much better than anything I could have thought.
Definitely Tom Cruise. Definitely Tom Cruise.
So that's the story that, like, she tells people this, and people start believing it, and then the media starts to latch onto this, and people start believing it, and then it starts spreading like wildfire. Like little stories of seeing the chupacabra, not quite the same description, but like similar enough, start popping up in different parts of Puerto Rico, and then it starts to move to other parts of Latin America, like moves into Mexico, moves into Chile, and the descriptions start getting a little bit different. And all the way through 1995 to the 2000s, early 2000s, they're calling chupa fever because, like, this thing is going crazy. People start telling t-shirts, fucking stuffies. There's chupacabra cartoons in Puerto Rico popping up.
I can remember being a young kid and every cover of every Inquirer.
Yes.
Those trashy tabloids. For a while, it was either Bat Boy or Chupacabra.
For sure. For 100%. And that's during that perfect timing where we're talking. Chupa mania is going crazy. It's like, listen, a mayor of San Juan at the time, a guy named Jose Soto, is nicknamed Chemo, formed a group of what he called Rambos. And they were a militia-like posse of fearless goat sucker hunters that were meant to go search out for the fucking chupacabra. You know what I mean? He brought these guys in front of media cameras and said, they're going to fuck up a chupacabra. I love it. This guy's amazing.
You say his nickname was Chemo?
Chemo, yeah.
Like chemotherapy, like, right? Like, that's what I'm hearing.
No, it might be Chemo. I don't fucking know. It's Chemo.
Okay. I'm going to choose Chemo because that is very...
He got the nickname, like the nickname's Chemo, Jose Soto, but it's Chemo. But he was called Chemo Jones because they were like, he's like the Puerto Rican Indiana Jones. So Chemo Jones.
That's what they called him when he was like, when he was getting all of the treatment for his fucking horrible pancreatic cancer and couldn't make the Chupacabra meetings. Fucking Chemo Jones over here.
Oh, he's going on about his fucking chemo.
Yeah. Oh, my cancer.
He's got people in the meeting that are behind his back going, the more the stages go on, he's starting to look like a chupacabra.
Yeah, so just as a clarification, the Rambos never caught a fucking chupacabra ever. Okay, they just hunted them.
And bang bitches.
Yeah. And then I bet you they banged lots of chupa fucking groupie, like a chupa groupie.
Choopy groupie, yeah.
So how many have you caught? Well, none so far, but I really feel like we're going to catch a wave anytime now.
Oh, fuck yeah. It's like I'm there.
You're so strong.
So as the chupacabra legends,
would you like some chimichurri?
As the chupacabra legends starting to spread through Latin America, it's moving its way north, more and more north towards America. And this is when the Texan chupacabra starts to make its way into the zeitgeist.
Now, is it bigger there?
It still goes on today, man. It's still big, fuck, for sure. So how this leap happens into America, like how it changes kind of thing, or how they even start talking about it, it's just more dead livestock that farmers claim were drained of blood. Southern states have like a lot of migrant workers come from Mexico and from Puerto Rico and stuff like that. So they brought the legend with them onto these farms where they're working. And then, so when a farmer sees a bunch of dead livestock, the migrant workers are like, it's Chupacabra, it's Chupacabra. And then, like, the guys, I guess the farmers are like, okay, I guess it's Chupacabra. Let's fucking do this. Now, the main difference between a Puerto Rican chupa and the Texan one is that there are many people who have caught or found, they haven't caught a Chupacabra alive, but they found a lot of dead ones. Okay, so this one's been fucking, the Puerto Rican one, never been caught. Texan one, many people. And it's not exactly what it's described like before, like the lizard kind of thing. It's more like dog, like looks like a fucking dog with no hair, really. Or like, let's show you some photos of some like chupacabras, what they kind of look like now, or what people are saying. That's a good one, I guess. Okay, let me share screen here. This would be more of what like the Mexican, or not the Mexican, like the Texan one would look like more of like a dog quadruped, you know,
with like, looks like a fucking sick dog, man. It looks like a dog with mange.
This is one that they actually found. We'll talk about him in a bit. This is the first chupacabra ever recorded as found. That looks like a fucking almost dead dog. Like, that is a dead dog. That looks like a dead dog.
Yeah, it's like a coyote, dude.
It's just mange, you know, like mange is what happens. The dog gets sick. It loses all its hair.
100%.
Yeah. Thanks for showing us a dead fucking dog, Richard.
You're welcome.
Goddamn racist.
Yeah, you thought that was the worst thing that was going to happen today. Yeah, so it kind of moved itself into like looking like a dog with spikes down its back, red eyes. So let's talk about the lady that is now called the Chupacabra lady in Texas. She is the first person ever claimed to have like got a dead Chupacabra. That was the one I showed you. Her name's Phyllis Canyon. She makes mention a lot that she lived in Africa for a lot of time. Okay. And she's got all sorts of exotic animal heads mounted on her walls. So she knows what animals look like. She's got a zebra. All right. If anyone's going to be able to pull out what a difference between a Chupacabra and a dog, it would be me. I got zebras. I got a lion, you know? Well, 2007, she was having a bunch of her and her neighbors, their ranchers, they were having a bunch of their livestock turn up dead, drain of their blood. So she, at some point in 2007, she was driving on the road and she saw some roadkill or like something dead by the side of the road. And she's like, oh, what's this? She gets out of the car and she looks at it, which is that dead dog thing I showed you. Yes.
So we're already talking about the kind of lady who sees roadkill and goes, I'm going to get out.
No, it's because she has a bunch of animals and stuff, right? So maybe she's like, what is this? This is one of my animals. I don't know what the fuck it is. But she gets out and she sees that dead dog thing I showed you and goes, that's what's been killing my livestock. Chupacabra. Look at it. That's a Chupacabra. It must be the fucking Chupacabra. This thing that's dead on my road. Yeah. Like you said, like you saw. Well, I guess it was a black and white picture. So it was dead. It was like the skin was blue. It's hairless or somewhat hairless. Looks like a canine. Looks like a coyote to me. You said, what did you say, coyote, RJ? Was that what you said?
Yeah.
Looks like a coyote to me. Just a fucked up coyote with mange, which you said mange is what it looks like, losing its hair kind of thing. So she starts saying, I found a fucking Chupacabra. I got a dead Chupacabra. And what do you think happens? Everyone goes, oh, cool. She's got a Chupacabra and starts believing her. Like, it's fucking crazy. Media starts coming to her house, taking pictures. We got a whole article with this fucking lady going like, look at the dead Chupacabra. And they're fucking full-blown like reporting. It's not just tabloids. It's somewhat like today it would be like MSN News. You know what I mean? Where you're like, I don't know if I should take that as a good source, but it's not a tabloid. You know what I mean? It's something like that.
This is what I mean, man. Like, that's why like a world with Nintendos is not a good, happy world, because people feel the need to like fool themselves. They're so miserable, they'll immediately believe a dog corpse is something magical.
I think that's exactly where we're at.
Yeah. Like it was 2007. They could have gone home and played Wii Sports, but they didn't because the Nintendo's not enough, Richard.
Okay. I'm willing to hear everyone's argument. I just feel like, I don't know, having to go work at a fucking work camp all the time or just coming home and jacking off to like porn, that's whatever I want. Like catered to me porn's like way better. I just saying like I
know. Well, okay, but like you're Maslow's hierarchy, pal. Like as soon as like some of those needs aren't met, you're not concerned with being anxious about, meeting a group of friends somewhere. Like if that's your biggest concern. It's not the case if you're in a work camp. You don't get to meet friends.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like you're just proving why it's better because I can go meet friends.
I don't know. I mean, I think I'm in the Rust Cole line of thinking. We need
we're
less
like
consciousness.
one poor decision away from being like in a dystopian fucking wasteland. I understand that too. Don't get me wrong, but we're like the couple.
See, but the wasteland rocks because like that's like more basic like instinct shit. Like that's where people like, you know, Mel Gibson get to wear cool leather armor and all they got to do is have a shotgun and a sick dog and then life's awesome. Now
mangy chupacabra, my friend.
Don't think for a second that's not the world I wish for. I mean, just on my street alone, there's 5 or 6 millionaires where I could beat the life out of their bodies and take what's theirs.
Yes. See,
like in an apocalyptic world, they don't own their things. I do. And instead, I'm in a fucking 1-bedroom apartment in the shit because things haven't boiled over yet.
Yeah, dude. Do you know how fucking awesome it will be to just like start like those rich people like that? The first thing you could do is just go and make like a shitty duct tape version of a human centipede with those motherfuckers.
Yeah. Starting with Galen Weston. Off topic, but
and there's nobody. No, I mean I think it's relevant no matter what, but we can go back.
Probably selling us Chupacabra meat.
I feel like I just saw a villain being born in RJ. It was basically like the prequel to Samuel L. Jackson's character in The Kingsman. He was just that. He was like, "Oh, wastelands are fucking awesome."
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to let my true colors peek out there.
I see what you're saying and I understand, but that's a hard life. I got kids. You know, you guys can have fun. You guys don't have kids. You guys can have fun. I gotta like protect people for a long time.
Well, no, you'll probably die. Shit. I'll probably die. We'll be dead. There won't be any for us.
I plan on doing very well in the apocalypse.
I think you would. You have the eyes of a sociopath, and it just that was gonna work so good for you. I'm happy for you. I have the eyes of somebody who needs glasses. I'm gone. I'm done. I'm okay with that because
but you're wishing for like a quick death. You're gonna be like chained up in someone's fucking sadistic basement, just becoming like their little toy. Yeah, you know, that's what you're gonna end up being.
Because
you're gonna be in that closet back there.
I get to see if I maybe at some point get to see someone like Ryan duct tape 3 billionaires together and make them eat each other's shit, and then I die a horrible death. That's not gonna be a horrible death. I will have happiness in my heart as I am slowly harvested for my body parts and organs.
Maybe it's worse though. Maybe Zuckerberg gets pulled in with you, and like you got to perform fellatio on Zuckerberg all the time. So now you're forced to suck the billionaire's dick from the other guy.
Man. I have too much willpower. I don't got to do nothing. They're just gonna fucking kill me. I'm so annoyed. Nobody gonna make me do anything in that world.
Okay. I'm just saying, like your possibility. There's unlimited possibilities in the wasteland. It's not just like I'm gonna go out there and like watch billionaire. Like you could be caught by a billionaire who just like, this is what I deal with now is people, and like you're sold off to another billionaire who just like there's so many, they have resource now, they can just get a bunch.
Hard time ruining this for me because no matter what, like if that happens, I'm taking somebody's eyes before they kill me. You know what I mean?
I like RJ saying he has a massive amount of willpower and channeling that into being annoying to his captors instead of getting away.
Because like, dude, how fucking hard? Like they're like, dig your own grave. No, what are you gonna do? Kill me anyways? Come on, fuck you. You dig it.
Yeah. You have to understand that there are two different RJs. There is RJ pre and post apocalypse.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like anyone. Just like anyone.
No,
like
sure.
myself. I mean, sure. Normal Ryan wouldn't bite the soft tissues of a man's throat and rip his jugular out. But post-apocalyptic Ryan would have that as a signature move.
Normal Rick hopes that Apocalypse Rick also gets to have a double quarter pounder cheese for lunch because that was delicious today. So
I mean, you seem like somebody who would figure that out. It would just be made out of people.
Yeah.
And automated
marked projects.
Hey, if it's automated, you don't even know what went into it.
You don't even want to know what the mech sauce
The machine runs on RJ's willpower.
All right, we tangented off, which was good, but it was because this lady found a fucking dead dog and thought it was a chupacabra.
Well,
and
hold on, though. We
came
back to it. We came back to it because how do we know that Ryan isn't out there practicing his signature move in preparation for the apocalypse.
Oh,
and
so
maybe
you got a
he's
theory now
been,
what the Chupacabra is, whether it
he's
exists
been
or
the
not. That's
It
Chupacabra
would
all
make
along.
sense that from the age of 15 in 1995, I took a plane to Puerto Rico. Much like a young Batman, I left the country to work on my skills. So that
bit by a vampire.
Chewing out goats' throats.
I didn't want to feed on any humans because I was too good, so I fed on all the goats. I sucked off all the goats in all of Puerto Rico.
My mom thought they were humanitarian things where I was building sheds. It's not the case.
And that would break someone's brain if they just saw some naked young white boy chewing out the sinew of their goat's neck.
Yeah. Why stop there? I said.
So media's going crazy over this in Texas. So there's fucking a Chupacabra in Texas. So the media goes, you know what? How about we do some DNA testing on that Chupacabra? I'll just take a little skin sample. We'll go do some DNA testing. Let's do that. So they send out for that. While they're waiting for results, this lady, I forgot her name already, Phyllis Canyon. So then she does something weird. She cuts the head off the creature and just puts it in her freezer. She's like, I gotta keep the head, just get rid of the rest. She wraps it up. Still there, probably to this day, honestly. And then they get the DNA results back. They say it's they're only doing mitochondrial DNA at that point, so you can only trace the mother side. So it says it's canine, but she goes, no, I don't trust your DNA test. So she takes the scraping from the head, does her own. She gets canine results again, just so you know. But then she goes it's half Chupacabra now. The other half, the dad was Chupacabra. And she sells a lot of t-shirts and a lot of Chupacabra gear. If anybody wants to go look up Phyllis Canyon, still to this day, she's the Chupacabra lady.
Charlatan. She's a charlatan.
I don't know why she would sell the gear and stuff like that. I don't know why she would deny the DNA test or anything. I don't know. I don't get it.
How long ago was this?
2007 to this
2007. It's still in the freezer?
I would imagine it's still there.
Yeah, that can't taste good anymore.
In 2011, Radford went to investigate her Chupacabra, and she's like, I caught a Chupacabra. I'm the first person to ever catch a Chupacabra. He didn't know about the fucking head, so she just goes, I got something special for you, and she just pulls out a frozen head. It's here. He's like, oh god, okay, gross. She was excited to see a Chupacabra, and then he thinks it's a dog. But we'll talk more about DNA testing in the theories because it's a big part of all this. The book, Radford investigates 10 bodies of Chupas being found, 10 different ones. They do DNA tests on all these, and we'll talk about results about all these later. So just a couple notes. I'm not going to get into every Chupacabra fucking sighting. It's impossible. There's so many. I will give you a couple notes on the Chupacabra, though. A Chupacabra's never attacked a human being ever before. It's only been animals. Chupacabra's never really been the subject of any serious research either. Let's just say that. This is just this one guy who fucking ran him down. Everybody else is wants to find a Chupacabra, they're ufologists are it's fucking alien, dude. I believe it, and they write a book. This guy's the only guy I ever saw that was skeptical, really. All I found is the media gets a hold of the information in this story, and it spreads like wildfire way too quickly. I find that the craziest, scariest part about this whole thing. A lot of the media takes from tabloid, which I find hilarious too, a Puerto Rican tabloid. So they'll take a tabloid story and print it in MSN News. So it really does come from tabloids to begin with. A tabloid called El Versero. The one big reasons the Chupacabra exists is because actually something did happen to this livestock. So that's the thing that actually happened, right? Everything else could just be bullshit. Somebody just saying they saw Chupacabra, but the animals were dead. And none of the ranchers could come up with a valid reason for any of the reason that the animals to have died, except for a Chupacabra, because that's the thing that's happening. So the mystery today is, what's the Chupacabra? And if it's nothing, what's happening to these animals? So we'll start talking about that if you guys have any of your own theories. I like that Ryan has been the Chupacabra the whole time, so you're starring in a movie. That's fantastic. I feel like that's the best one we're going to get today already.
Ultimately, I think that it's completely two separate things. From everything I've looked at, I honestly think that there's probably, and I'm a flat out believer, and I have no problem saying I believe in alien life, because I also believed in Epstein's Island when they told me I was fucking crazy. And then of course, it comes out they're banging all those kids in such a horrible fashion, just like I said, and many other people that were told we were kooks. I think there's aliens. I think this is two different things. I think everything in and around Puerto Rico and the descriptions that keep it on 2 feet, I think that's a different thing than how this has telephone, the game where it's completely different by the end. I think that it's turned into something that has nothing to do with the original source material. And I think for the people trying to hide it, that's the best thing that could have happened.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Yeah, they probably don't want those UFO flight logs to get out, and then we'll find out like Tom Hanks and Bill Clinton and Donald Trump were all like out there sucking blood out of goats. Yeah.
Fucking finger banging aliens.
We'll start with the alien side of things if you want, because unless you guys want to talk about, like, you guys have other theories down of Rick and Rajay.
I do have my theory. I'll go last or close to last.
Okay, yeah, sure.
It's a little long.
That's fine. We'll talk about this then.
Yeah.
We'll start.
I'm trying to get the video evidence. Hold on.
So I'm going to start with a couple dumb ones off the top, like I usually do. So one of the original things that this came out was like it's satanic worshipers doing satanic things, like draining animals of blood for rituals, and that passed around a little bit. It didn't get as much steam as Chupacabra did. So I hope it's alien. I'm sorry, I hope it's Satan, because hail Satan, that would be awesome. I hope it's somebody doing satanic things. That'd be amazing. But I don't think it's true because of all the stuff I've read past this. We've got some pretty good theories coming up here. So anybody got any thoughts on Satan? I just hope it's that. I wanted to
rad. Awesome.
Yeah,
cool.
Some sort of satanic group fucking draining blood. Cool.
You just said thoughts on Satan, so
yeah. So next one's theory is the government experiment gone wrong. So it's not an alien, kind of, I guess. So there's reports from UFO researchers in Chile that say they found Chupacabra eggs in Chile's northern Atacama Desert.
Now it lays eggs?
Yeah, it lays eggs, apparently. And they found they were from some clandestine genetics experiment in collaboration with the Americans, NASA specifically, if we're going to talk about it's NASA. And apparently NASA captured a male and a female Chupacabra from Puerto Rico or wherever they're from and wanted to breed them because they're aliens and they just want to figure this shit out, right? Well, they have their little operation going on. Some get free. Livestock start dying. Apparently the whole program was to make creatures that could survive on Mars, because that's what Chupacabras can do. They can bring us to Mars. And of course, after a bunch of Chilean livestock massacres, NASA agents in black helicopters swoop down, clean up the mess like nothing ever happened.
No, you had me until you saying the government was going to clean up its own mess.
Man, yeah. Although this also sounds like a sequel to Mac and Me.
Mac and Me. Mac is a Chupacabra. That's okay.
Yeah, he's Mac and Chupacabra. He fits the description.
A little bit, actually. That's what's creepy about it. Like smooth skinned, weird head. Does he have long teeth?
Yeah.
No, that's the only thing doesn't have. Blaming the government is like easy for people who are under hardships to do. It's like when you lose your livestock as a farmer, you're like losing like all of your money. You know what I mean? Like you're losing money too. It's not like you're just like losing an animal. Like that's your fucking livelihood. And it's easy to go like, oh, Americans are harming them. You know, like that's Americans coming down and doing it, because who's better to blame the U.S. government for like things going on in the world? Puerto Rico, especially, because like you were saying, a bunch of shit goes down in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico, why aren't they a state? I don't get that. Why aren't they a state of the U.S.?
There's still a giant military base that's like an off limits kind of like fucking Roswell
100%.
kind of base.
They test bombs and shit there. They test military weapons. They test during, I guess, like was it Iran or something? One of those American wars. They were testing Agent Orange, like that fucking chemical shit. They're just
napalm.
Yeah, crazy shit they test there. So it's easy to like blame that like the Chupacabra's from there, and of course like the and like since they're not a state, they kind of feel like, I don't know, they get to get used by the American government like for bombs and shit testing, but we can't get like the same shit states get. It's like the fucking redheaded stepchild of America. I don't understand why they're not a state. Can you guys explain that to me, the Americans?
Not really, because my understanding was that they voted against it.
Okay.
In much the same way that like Hawaii didn't, you know what I mean? Like,
but isn't Hawaii a state though?
I'm saying like they did the opposite. They did like,
they voted themselves in.
Yeah. But that's like the extent of my knowledge on it. I don't know. I do believe that they are still mistreated.
For sure.
I think that is for sure the case. So I don't know that it's all their fault.
But like making up chupacabras as an American secret government thing that they come here and they fucking ruin all our livestock, take all our money, they do all sorts of bad. It's not a big leap for me to understand why it would be a clandestine American secret project. Like, I get why people would think that one so cool, but that's probably as far as that goes. For me,
fucking around in like near equatorial and Spanish speaking countries is like America's bread and butter. So
yeah,
Wow.
it is. Who did you hoorah? That's hilarious.
sure you did.
Oh God. Okay. So yeah, that's as far as that goes with the. I don't think it's government. If it's anything, it's gonna be alien, that's the next theory, that it's some sort of alien.
The reason I feel like something, maybe alien before government is because no matter what we're talking about, whether it's something like what's going on in Gaza or the Russian-Ukrainian thing, my thing is always follow the money, because nothing else matters. You find out who's profiting from whatever's going on, and 9 times out of 10, I promise you that they have something to do with what's going on. So in a situation like this, where what's happened is 100 dead animals, all drained of blood, and in one night, my question is, how do you stand to profit financially from that at all? And I think the answer is you can't. And then that's when my head goes, well, then what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, how does something that actually happen, and why, if there's absolutely no financial gain for anyone involved? Well, then what the fuck is the answer? Because 9 times out of 10 for me, it's money. And if it's not, that's where I'm really intrigued.
I think I have a good answer for you after all this.
I get it. I get that too. That makes a lot of sense, especially when you have like that conspiracy like mindset and stuff where you go like Chupacabra, child pornography. Okay. Child pornography, Democrats. Okay. Democrats.
Somebody is finger banging a kid and making some money on it.
Yeah. Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Figured it
the
out.
lizard woman, Hillary Clinton, the lizard lady.
Yeah. It's not that hard to get there when you got to open your fucking eyes. That's all.
Open your eyes.
Yeah.
Sheeple, all the sheeple listening to this. Fucking
Follow
open
the
your
money,
eyes.
dummies.
Yeah. Okay, so alien of some sort. The way this thing's described as an alien, it's not really like a I don't know if it's sentient. It wouldn't be like an alien that kind. It's like more like a rat on a UFO. Like a chupacabra would be like a rat on a boat. You know what I mean? It's just like kind of an animal that gets there and it kind of like gets loose when they come and land. You know, it's like a wild animal, like a rat, something that escaped to Earth. Cool, sure. If that's what it is, that's kind of fun. You know what I mean? Like, just didn't go through customs. You let us through a fucking foreign animal onto you fucking asshole aliens. But that's where the whole alien thing comes from with that.
Say foreign animal again, Richard.
Why? What did I say?
Probably a heavy Canadian accent.
I think
No,
so.
it's just in line with the hate speech that tends to accidentally
pop out. Get these foreign guinea pigs out of my fucking country.
New Canadians.
Yeah, what are these new guinea pigs? I want American guineas.
The next one is, and this is where you're gonna fucking be mad at me, probably, Ryan. Theory on this: why anybody thinks this exists in Puerto Rico is the movie Species. Now, do you remember this movie? Natasha Hedstrich, Forrest Whitaker, Sir. It's one of the sirs, one of the older guys. Anyways, Ian McClellan. I don't think it's Ian McClellan. It's one of these old fucking English dudes.
I'm old enough. I remember the movie perfectly. And if there's
Natasha Hedstrich's fucking titties, of course, we all remember that at that age.
I was say, my review would be those were fantastic alien titties.
Good review.
Yeah, and if that's what aliens are, bring them on.
Invade our planet, please.
Yeah.
So the original lady, Madeline Tolentino, said that she'd seen the Chupacabra. She said that she had seen the movie Species before seeing the movie El Chupacabra. Now, Species had just come out in Puerto Rico a couple weeks before the first sighting of the Chupacabra. And it turns out the original description looks a lot like the alien version of Natasha Henstridge in the movie Species. I'm going to show you right now, more than probably anybody wants to admit. That's the original like description picture that she got made up. That's the fucking art, the movie art for the movie Species. A little too similar for my liking. Not big enough titties on Madeline's, but she was like, she was being like, I don't know.
Yeah, but
brutish. I believe the word's brutish.
It's also only like 80% is fuckable.
Which one? The Natasha one or the other one?
The depiction is only like 80% as fuckable as the Species version.
What about that one? That one, the Species version looks way like now it's only 20%.
Species? That looks like a fucking xenomorph.
Whatever it is.
It might be the first time I turned down a blowjob. Look at that mouth. My God.
Imagine a lipless blowjob.
Yeah.
You have to use teeth, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like Radford or whatever kind of comes to this conclusion about after talking to her. He spent 5 years, like I said, writing the book. Okay, so here's the plot of the movie too. So like the early plot of the movie, Natasha Henstridge is Syl. She's a half human, half alien hybrid who eventually morphs into her alien form, and she has spines on her back. So the whole movie starts off with a doctor in a lab with a Chupacabra egg trying to implant like human DNA into this. It's not Chupacabra, but some sort of alien fucking thing. They're trying to make like a human hybrid. And then the thing, it grows out of control. And Natasha Henstridge comes from it. She grows too fast and she like beats up everyone at the fucking lab, which is also situated in Puerto Rico for this movie, just so everybody knows. And the alien escapes from this Puerto Rican lab after fucking explode. Like it's both the alien theory and the government conspiracy theory, like mixed into one. It's the movie that just came out a month before. And she, like I said, remembers way too much. Way too precise of a memory. His interview with her is in 2011 and she still gives the same description. Like, it's a memorized description. She talked about the anus again. Like there was no butthole.
Speaking of genitals, animal genitals, just off topic. I made the mistake of watching a mountain gorilla documentary on National Geographic.
Okay.
Just days before going to see King Kong and Godzilla on mushrooms. And that was a mistake. Because having just seen that documentary, I spent 2 hours going, where's King Kong's dick?
It's true, though.
I just saw that documentary. They got great big penises. These,
King Kong's got a little ding dong.
No, it's non-existent in the movie. I think they do it for the kids. But I worked it out. He's 300 feet tall. He should have at least a 20-foot pecker. And you don't see it once in the movie.
I thought though, like that gorillas had like proportionately the smallest penises in the animal kingdom.
But when they're angry, it gets kind of big. So there was times where these silverback gorillas were fighting each other. All of a sudden, they got a semi.
I mean excitement can do that. I mean, like I've that's happened to me plenty of times. Anytime like I watch like John Wick, your heart rate gets going.
No wonder you want the apocalypse to happen. I'll be constantly hard. As soon as that apocalypse starts, I'm just gonna be fucking full blown shafted out.
Yep.
I just thought there should have been at least one part of the movie where like a building gets taken out and there's a whole family going, "Oh my God, that was close!" And then they go, "Was that his dick?"
Yeah, just getting sideswiped.
Yeah. And then they look at the wall and there's like a cartoon exit of a guy who looks like he left a room too quick, only it's the shape of a cock, which is the perfect.
See, I always thought it was funny like that because like I'd heard that gorilla factoid about them like having like proportionately the smallest penis, so that like King Kong, because he's so big, he just has like a normal sized human penis.
Man.
And then Godzilla just laughs at him until he gives up. Like that's how they settle their differences.
Yeah, I don't know. I was on so many mushrooms that could have been how it ended. Could have ended that way.
Okay, let's see if we can really. I don't know. You guys can disagree with this after, but I think this is it goes into a couple things. So, anyways, livestock. We're talking about livestock here. I know that happened. Chupacabra sounds ridiculous to me, but the livestock weren't even drained of any type of blood, and it could have just been another animal attack. So, like, dogs could have done this. All right, domesticated dogs. When canines kill, they'll just sometimes play with their prey. And since they're domesticated, they're not doing this for food. They're doing this just for fun. They wouldn't drag away the corpse. They would just like, ooh, I'm playing with you, crack its trachea and let it suffocate on the ground until it dies. They have puncture wounds because that's where they bit the fucking throat. And after an animal dies, they go through rigor mortis. Everyone knows what that is, right? It gets all tense. Then the heart stops. blood stops flowing around the body, and then they move into a thing called what's called liver mortis, which is basically like all your blood starts pooling at the whatever the lowest point is from gravity. Blood pools, turns the skin like a dusty reddish purple, and after liver mortis sets in, unless you like pick up the dead animal or like cut it open, it looks like it's drained of blood because all the blood is pooled to like the bottom of the body. So unless you're flipping this animal over, it looks drained of blood. Even further than that. So if you find it goes past that and it goes like a couple days before you find this, the blood actually starts to coagulate inside of the dead animal, and it looks like there's no blood. So even if you were to cut it open, it wouldn't be like there was no blood in there. It would just be like jelly blood, you know? And I know this is farmers and
that's
shit.
the best Smucker's flavor.
Yeah. There's British people just drooling listening to this right now.
Yeah.
Oh, coagulated blood. We quite like that.
Can't wait to fix myself a PB&B.
Make that into a sausage and I'll have it for breakfast.
So this is farmers finding these fucking things and saying like, oh, it's drained of blood. And like, I know farmers would see dead livestock all the time. So that kind of like, they would know if there's no blood or whatever. But like, would they do a proper autopsy? Radford never found one autopsy ever done on any of these animals ever. And are you cutting the thing open to see like if it's all just jellied up? Are you cutting it open to see if it's jellied up? Or are you just like another dead cow and like doing whatever you needed to do with it or whatever? A dead goose, chugging in some fucking pile and burning it or whatever the fuck you do with like a mass grave of dead animals. Are you doing like that shit? You're not. I don't think you are. I think you're just like cleaning it up and fucking crying about it, getting mad about it after.
Let's call your grandfather and see what you do with mass graves.
Yeah, he's dead. I wish I could ask him though. Get the Ouija board out. A lot of people think that these insanguinated or whatever fucking animals were just dead for a little bit longer than just instant death. You know what I mean? Like, and it doesn't have to be just a dog. I just said dog. It could be like, I don't know.
That's all right. You don't have to finish that. I have a great theory that tails off that.
Okay, so you say it, and then I'll go through some other funny things here.
Okay, no, this is a great spot for mine. Trust me.
Okay, perfect.
So right around the mid 1990s, right when Chupacabra is becoming famous, taking off. You know who else is just coming onto the scene? Cesar Millan, rising dog behaviorist. Right, he needed to get famous, right? Because it wasn't until 2004 the Dog Whisperer came out.
Okay, so he's working at his craft. I got you.
He's working at his craft. He has to come up with something to, really bring people onto the scene. So let me pull up a video for you so we can talk about this.
This is going to be ridiculous.
It's literally a dream because I started walking in a place called Runyon Canyon. So I started walking in South Central Inglewood. So I was called the Mexican guy who can walk a pack of dogs, and I have 40 dogs walking off leash. I didn't know that it was illegal to walk dogs off leash in America.
40?
Yeah, 40.
Wow.
Because I was making money with instead of charging $30, $40 per dog, I was making money with volume. So I was charging $10 per dog. So for me to make $400, I have to do 40 dogs. So that way people will hire me. Because I didn't have papers, I didn't speak English, you know what I mean? I didn't know the system. I have to gain the trust. So as a Mexican, we always give something so that people keep coming back.
I just love how he has a parrot just hanging out behind him. Like, sure.
This is the most Mexican immigrant.
He had to give something. He had to create the myth of the Chupacabra so that he could get the Dog Whisperer back. And I think this is only the beginning of his plan. I think he plans to take this one step further because we know that Netflix loves to follow up everything that we do. And I think next we have Cesar Millan on the Chupacabra Whisperer.
Did you just ask AI to make you Chupacabra Whisperer?
I did part of that myself, but yeah, his face I did not do.
Can you send me that picture so I can put it as the cover of the episode, please?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah, I like how the Chupacabra is definitely a Chihuahua too. Like
it's like a skunk-colored Chihuahua with spikes.
Yeah, it rocks.
It's fantastic. That was great. Okay. I feel like what you should have had is Cesar Millan holding Ryan because he's the Chupacabra.
Yeah, I will be.
Cesar Millan's fucking me up now. I didn't know that's how he looked. Is that a recent interview?
When you brought up dogs, I had to that's exactly what he looks like.
Is that now though? Is that a recent interview?
4 years ago.
Yeah, so it's recent enough. I hadn't seen him in a while. He looked old. He aged.
People tend to do that. Yeah.
Wonder how old he is in dog years.
I wonder how many years the Chupacabra year is. Okay. So there could be other animals, not just dogs, doing this, especially like domesticated ones like coyotes, or there's actually a dog that it looks like a lot. If you look at a lot of pictures, a Zolo dog. Anybody see these dogs?
Yeah, they're hairless.
They're hairless and they're like Mexican dogs, and they're fucking super, like they look kind of scary. Actually, they're like black most of the times. They have big old ears, but they look like that. Like it looks like the Chupacabra that they're doing. They're pretty rare in America or Canada, but they're like super common in Mexico. Well, I shouldn't say super common, but more common there. Whether they're the Texan Chupacabra as a dog is pretty undisputable. Like fuck, that's a canid for sure. But is it a fucking mixture of coyote and dog, or I forget what they called dog and coyote? It was a funny name.
Coy dog.
Coy dog. Yeah, it was a funny name.
Yeah.
Or like one of those Zolo dogs or whatever it is. It's something from that. And then they just look so fucked up is because of what Ryan said earlier, which is a disease called mange. It comes from mites. And it makes dogs lose their hair and look all fucked up because dogs get all itchy and they'll like scratch all their hair off themselves. And they get these big rashes. They lose their hunger and they get all skinny. And then if you don't take care of it, dogs could die from that. So whatever that thing is that they took a picture of, it's just a fucking dog of some sort with mange is what it looks like to most people, honestly.
And the scales, I mean, mange when it gets really bad looks like psoriasis.
For sure. It gets this big, clumpy rash and scary looking.
Yeah, big clumpy fucking scale-like rash. It's really, really painful for the poor thing.
Yeah. It's kind of fucked up that these like farmer, that lady, Phyllis, whatever the fuck her name is, Canyon, she like used a dead dog with mange to sell t-shirts. Like I don't like that lady. She's a fucking like just bury the dog, dude. Like come on. Or the coyote or whatever the fuck it is.
Sounds to me like you're not playing enough Nintendo, Richard.
Yeah.
I'm
Do you have
playing
a dead
enough.
Switch sitting on a desk somewhere just staring at you?
Yeah, I'm not getting bombed either. It's awesome. So yeah, then okay, so let's get rid of those ones, the Texan one, whatever. Then there's like the bunch of attacks that no one ever saw the Chupacabra, but just assumed it was a fucking Chupacabra because there was no blood or lots of blood just coagulated or fucking liver mortis or whatever's happening with that. What killed those livestock? Now, like I said, it doesn't have to be a dog. It could be all sorts of things. I saw a theory out there that the original livestock deaths from Puerto Rico weren't from dogs. It was from starving mongoose. Now, apparently, in the early 90s, there was a super huge rat epidemic in Puerto Rico. So, like, they just let the mongoose go crazy and eat all the rats. And then by mid-1990s, the rat problem was gone, but they had a fucking mongoose problem. And they had so many mongoose that they didn't have anything to eat it. There's no rats left anymore. So they're going around eating goats and shit because the mongoose are so hungry. I don't know if that's true, but I'm just saying that's a theory that's out there of what the actual thing of fucking mongoose. There's raccoons have been explained off for Chupacabra. There's a fucking magician in New York City called Johnny Fox. He does magic and he ran a curio museum with a bunch of weird artifacts. And he said he had a Chupacabra foot. Somebody took DNA test of that. Raccoon foot. Monkeys. Could be just fucking monkeys. Okay. Rhesus monkeys were introduced on the island in the 1960s for research purposes. And apparently a bunch escaped enough that they made their own colony on one of the little islands in Puerto Rico. They like, it's nicknamed Monkey Island.
Well, then what the fuck are we talking about? That's what it is.
That's what I'm saying.
Fucking...
It's a monkey.
So then that's what you buried the lead. This could have been a lot shorter. It's just like that. It's the fucking monkeys. Have you seen those monkeys? They look like exactly what the fuck people are talking about. And you let a bunch of them go after you feed them the whole fucking time. And then now they've got no food, so they start sucking back some chickens and some goats. That makes sense to me. I think it's the monkeys. Case closed. What do you mean they lost monkeys? Who lost monkeys? How do you lose monkeys?
They were doing testing. They just let them go, which is fucked up. So like the monkeys, yeah, could just be killing for fun or for food or whatever. And sometimes it's just like easier to lump all the bad things that happen, like the big bad Chupacabra, to some sort of fucking magic thing that's happening. It's called magical thing. It's what you talked about earlier, RJ. It's a thing that happens a bunch throughout history, like Salem witch trials. Oh no, bad shit's happening. Must be witches. Kill a bunch of chicks until they figure out it's not witches.
That actually makes so much sense because if this happened in 1995, everybody was so fucking bored and so exhausted of waiting for the N64 to come out the next year. So they for sure needed something to bridge that gap for like 1 year at least. And then it just caught on and kept going. Even though people were playing like Bomberman and Mario Kart, you know, the following
Top
year.
Gear.
Yeah,
Good.
exactly. They just
Fantastic
remembered.
So
yeah,
that is all I have on chupas. So that I'm just saying, I think it's liver mortis. And
because you know what makes me think about it? If these monkeys aren't indigenous to that area in which they've just been released, well, then it's a good chance that those monkeys are going to get monkey mange or some other fucking thing. And those monkeys you're talking about, Reese, they're ugly as fuck to begin with. And can you imagine a sickly looking one of those?
Oh yeah, if it's all fucked up, for sure.
If it's all fucked up and because I mean, anytime you displace an animal,
are you Googling fucked up monkey?
No, I'm looking up. I'm going to show you guys if you guys didn't look already, I'm just going to show you.
I think those are the monkeys with the flat faces, isn't it?
No,
are they baboon-like? Because anything baboon-like would have giant canines.
It's these guys.
Something like a baboon.
Cesar could train that.
No, dude,
give them an afternoon.
I really don't like fucking monkeys or great apes of any kind. Like orangutans seem chill, but that just means I want to leave them alone even more because they
look up night monkeys. Night monkey. Yeah.
Night monkey.
Yeah, why don't you Google what that monkey did to Oprah's friend's face?
Oh, dude, yeah, fucking terrifying.
Oh, I've talked about the 911 call, and that is fucking horrendous. She's eating his face.
That monkey fucking Travolta Nick Cage face offed her, man. Like
first thing, ate her hands so she couldn't defend herself. Then started ripping her face off.
To take her face off.
I'm a firm believer that like we need to like not interact with chimpanzees anymore. Like, you know, put them like in like one area and that's their country. You know what I mean? And treat them like people, but like a tribe of people that like we do not need to be bothering. Maybe give them a seat at the UN.
So like what the UK did with Australia.
Yeah.
Take that, Australia.
Yeah.
The tensile strength of 10 men. I want nothing to do with them.
No, they're scary as fuck.
Ripped a woman's face off, Richard.
And ate it and laughed about it.
Did it fucking eat it?
Friend.
Did it eat it after?
It was like,
no. Worse than I thought.
Yeah, they're fucked up. All right, well, what are we going with here, guys? You guys found enough Chupacabra? Like, you think you can find a Chupacabra in the wild? Or I think the whole time you were Chupacabra, it was inside of you the whole time. The Chupacabra.
Yeah. That's going to be my nickname in the apocalypse. Quick, duck, get in the shadows. Here comes El Chupacabra. And just because the thing is, I don't even have to rip too many people's throats out. I think however many I do, word's going to travel like it's 3 or 4 times that anyway. So, I'll get a few out of the way early and then just ride that kind of legend.
Yeah, for sure. You just got to do one, and then everyone's going to think you're going to do it to everyone. You just got to do it publicly, though.
If I do one and say something like "4th one today,"
you know what rock during the post-apocalypse? You become like a fucking like legend amongst like people of like the apocalypse, and like they tell stories about you at night, and like you'll hear soft footsteps, and then a whisper in your ear. I bet you miss Super Smash Brothers, and then you're done.
Yeah. That's it. Red shell, bitch. And then I bite their throat out.
That's perfect. You know what? Now you get to star in a fucking horror movie directed by Hunter Collins. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. And I think Hunter's going to be happy with what I've got here. He's got the money, so I'm going to contact him. He's going to send all of it to you. And cool. I promise that.
You know what? A guy who calls himself Chupacabra in the apocalypse because he will tear out my throat as his signature move gets it for free.
Yeah, I think honestly, the only thing that we respectfully should ask for, or even could ask for, is a potential screener copy of the film.
Yeah, you know what? Once Hunter's got it banged up, he's always been an amazing comic, but I think he's one of those guys. And not to turn into the Hunter Collins, because he's just recently moved to another country, but solid guy. And after 24 years of stand-up, I think he's going to end up making some crazy horror films. And like years from now, we're going to be talking about that. It's going to be cool.
I just watched Private Dicks, and I think RJ's the funniest.
What? Come on.